Version 4.1. Initializing upgrades. Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, Darryl W. Perry. And, you know, things are kind of weird at times. So I had a couple of things pulled up for show prep. And I was preparing to do one of those two stories, possibly both. And then I saw something in the sidebar of one of the articles that said, you may also like. And that's what I'm doing. The headline is, if being truly happy is your goal, you should forego these 12 things in life. And now, if you've listened to the show for a while, you know that I battle with not always being happy. And, you know, Saturday was a really tough day for me for a variety of reasons. One thing specifically that I will not get into, and no, if you send a question for the AMA, I will not answer it, other than to say I'm not answering this question. But, you know, like I was really down on Saturday. Feeling better today, was feeling better yesterday as well. So when I saw this, I knew I've got to talk about this because, you know, like, again, this show is therapy for me as much as it is for anybody else in some kind of weird motivational sort of way. And I don't look at the statistics a whole lot on the show, but I have noticed the last month or so, the numbers have gone up a little bit. You know, it's not huge numbers to begin with, but the numbers are consistently going up, and that is good. So thank you. Jumping into the article from Lifehack, to be truly happy is what most of us are trying to achieve. But along the way, things get in the way. What we need to do and where we need to go often get compromised by the restrictive ideas that consume our way of thinking. Comparing ourselves too much to what everyone else does, has done, clouds our personal standards and expectations. At some point, everyone needs to consider what it is that makes them happy, completely independent of what has already been dictated to them. Here are 7 things you should forego to reinvigorate your perception of happiness. Now, the article here says 7, the title says 12, and there are 12 things in the list. Number 1 on the list, jealousy and envy. It's easy to watch your friends, colleagues, and even siblings achieve success and wonder why you haven't achieved any success on your own. When others do reach new achievements, a pitfall that is often stumbled into is envy. You want the glory they have. You want the jobs or the fiscal freedom that comes with everything they have. This consuming emotion does not lead to success. If anything, it will bring regression. You'll start to reconsider if what you're doing is even enough. Why them and not me? There is an answer to the question. It's just not your time yet. But your time will come, and it's important to remain focused on your own goals as opposed to the goals of others. Live your life, not the life of your peers. And this is something that I, do my best at. I don't like, paying attention to what other people do or, how much stuff other people have. I like, there's always the question that pops up on Facebook every so often of, if you didn't need money, would you still do the job you have? And my answer would be yes. I would still record news. I would still do podcasts. I would still do the things that I'm doing. If money were no object, like, would I have a different job? The answer is no. Assuming that, things are still, relatively the same, yes, I would still go act as a lobbyist in the legislature. I would still do affiliate relations for Free Talk Live. I would still do this podcast. I would still run my company. So, again, assuming that it's not some cataclysmic, it's an end-time scenario where you have to go hunt your food, blah, 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 ha, 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 joke's on you, you can't do your job. Number 2 on the list of 12 things to forgo if you want happiness, real happiness. And this is one that Darryl struggles with severely. Working too hard. And not that what I do is difficult work, as far as, I'm not out shoveling ditches or anything like that, but I do put a lot of time and mental energy into the work that I do. And I'm not sure if that's necessarily what they're talking about here, but let's delve in. They say a common phrase that gets swung around is, you have to work hard to get things you want. While hard work is a definite must, there still needs to be a balance in how much hard work you're putting in. Your mind and body can only put on or put out so much energy in a day. Overexhaustion can lead to stress-induced injuries and malnourishment. Make an effort to work efficiently. For instance, single tasking can help you stay keen on your goals, mitigating your work hours with frequent breaks allows the brain to breathe. And this is something that, most of the time I am definitely multitasking. And I know I'm probably, overusing my brain. And when I tell people that, I've suffered from a headache for well over 5 years, they say, how do you wind up doing everything you do? And I say, I don't know. I really don't. There are times when I honestly do not know how I, get everything done in a day and then still, find time to screw around on Facebook. I could probably do so much more stuff if Facebook were not a thing. There are 10 more items on this list. We'll jump into it. Stay tuned here to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com.
Hi, this is Davi Barker from ShinyBadges.com, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Before I jump back into the rest of this list of things to forego in your life if you want to truly be happy, I want to make sure that I tell you about a website that you will want to wind up bookmarking. You will want this site, especially this Friday. Why this Friday? Yes, I know. It's Black Friday. Got to go get all the shopping deals. Well, it's also Bitcoin Black Friday, meaning that there are a lot of businesses that are offering really good deals for people using Bitcoin. And where can you find millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin merchants all in one place? That would be Spend a Bit. Spend a Bit aggregates, again, millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. They are the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend a bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin-accepting merchant, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. That's spendabit.fppradio.com. Going through a list of 12 things to forego if you want to be truly happy. Number 3 on the list, well, let me first jump up. Number 1 is get rid of jealousy and envy. Stop working so hard or too hard. Number 3, get rid of the fear of setting goals. Are you good enough? Well, that depends. Are you willing to take the steps needed to be good enough? Although, what exactly does it mean to be good enough? If you're willing to take the steps, then yes, you are good enough, even if you aren't there yet. Sitting around wondering if you can do what you want to do has never brought success to anyone. Committing to a list of goals, often illustrated in realistic baby steps, and again, we've talked about this at length. If you're going in to clean your incredibly dirty kitchen, and I don't know if your kitchen's incredibly dirty, but, pick a room that might be incredibly dirty. You walk in and you say, I'm going to clean this room, but I don't know where to start. I'm going to go take a nap. Well, if you break it down into a bunch of little goals of, I'm going to go clean the stuff on the left, in the example of the kitchen, I'm going to go clean the stove. And then I'm going to clean the counters, and then I'm going to wash the dishes, and then I'm going to dry the dishes, and then I will put the dishes away, and then I will sweep and mop the floor. And then you have like 5 or 6 little sub-tasks that once you finish the sub-task, you have completed your goal. So you break your goal into realistic baby steps, cross each of those off as you go along the way, and that sets your parameter. Number 4, get rid of procrastination. Getting started is arguably the hardest part. We're often constricted by our fear of not being ready. The reality is that no one is ever entirely ready for their endeavors. But starting along the path allows an opportunity to learn what your strengths and your flaws are. Sitting in the chair, staring idly at your goal list isn't going to get you anywhere. Number 5 and number 6, again, things that Darryl struggles with. Number 5, stop thinking about yesterday. We often revise our history in our minds and pretend that we didn't make the mistakes in the past. In our imagination, today would be perfect and all of our goals would be achieved and there would be nothing to worry about. Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. Everyone makes mistakes. Mistakes are chances to discover something new about ourselves. Overcoming adversity begins with tackling the present day, not dwelling on woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I don't know how many people listen to country music, and I honestly don't remember how old this song is. Probably 20 plus years old, but there's the song, I don't even remember the name of the band, but it was Stop Thinking About What Might Have Been. And yes, it was a song about a girl, but the message of the song is incredibly relevant of, hey, stop thinking about all of the things that could have gone right or that could have turned out differently. And again, this is something that I struggle with. I've mentioned some of the scenarios that I replay in my mind of, if I would have done this at this time, then maybe this would have happened. And then after that, this other thing would have happened. And then, 5-7 months later, then this, and everything would be different. And part of that is because, I'm trying to reconcile the mistake that I made, or what I thought was a mistake, or, just try to sort of, relive the moment to fix the mistake in hopes that in an alternate universe things wind up being fixed, but also because I'm fascinated by alternate history. And I don't know if you've ever watched the YouTube channel Alternate History Hub, but I'm fascinated by that YouTube channel, to where the guy that runs the channel, he'll answer questions of, what would the world be like if World War I never happened? What would the world be like if colonialism was never a thing? What would the world be like if fill-in-the-blank event never happened? And it's just really interesting, seeing these scenarios play out. And, of course, I know that I can't go back and change things. Like, I know that, I can wonder all day long, what would the world be like today if William the Conqueror had never crossed the English Channel? And I now you're thinking about it. Good. I want you to think about that. Because most people never think about all of the negative implications that happened from William the Conqueror crossing the English Channel and uniting the Anglo-Saxon clans into England. But it's something that I wonder about. And again, I know I can't go back and change it, but it's just one of those sort of, like replay and maybe learn from previous mistakes. And I don't know if I ever actually learn from the mistakes or if I just keep replaying the scenarios in my mind. And so now I'm just going to have this in my mind of, am I actually learning from my mistakes or am I just replaying scenarios in my mind? I don't know. There are several more things on this list, including at least one more. Actually, several of these are things that I do. So stay tuned to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.xyz, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.xyz today to find out more.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. We're going through a list of 12 things to forego if you want a truly happy life. Number 1, get rid of jealousy and envy. Stop working too hard. Get rid of that fear of setting goals. Stop procrastinating. Stop thinking about yesterday. And also, stop thinking about tomorrow. The idea of tomorrow can be frightening. And if you really think about it, there is no such thing as tomorrow. This is me cutting in with one of my weird anecdotes. I have a lot of these. That's why I always post the link in the show notes, and you can read the article at your leisure without all of my weird interspersing thoughts here. But I know you listen for my weird interspersing thoughts, or at least a lot of you do. So the idea of tomorrow, and I had this thought many years ago. So here I am thinking about yesterday again, right? That tomorrow does not actually exist. And this is not one of these Darryl was really high and realized that time was an illusion moments. That happened at HempFest. But the thought about tomorrow not existing happened like 20 years ago, probably 25 years. But I digress. So there's always the present. And we keep saying, like tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. But really, since it's always the present, it's always now, it's always today. Tomorrow is only an illusion. Yesterday is an illusion. Although we can look at a calendar and see that the yesterdays happened, Or at least we think that the yesterdays happened. Maybe everything that we think happened, like everything, including William the Conqueror crossing the English Channel, maybe none of that ever happened. Everything was created now. Or maybe it was created now, and you just thought that 5 seconds ago I said it was created now, but it was actually created now. And that's the kind of stuff that will absolutely blow your mind. And no, I am not high. I swear I'm not. I actually can't remember the last time I used any cannabis to relieve my headache. It was several days ago. But no, I'm not high. I swear. So stop thinking about tomorrow as well. The author of this article has some questions here that often frighten people about this, construct of tomorrow. Will I be able to finance my goals? Will I be able to finance my life? Will I have the support system behind me in case I fail at all of this? All of these concerns are legitimate and should be considered, but not so intensely. Not knowing what's ahead can be unnerving, and while it should not be taken too lightly, there isn't much you can actually do about it. If you commit to your goals, pivot, and make compromises as you go along, and you remind yourself of why you're doing what you do in the first place, everything will be just fine. Today is the most important day, every day, because it's the only day. Part of that was added by me. You'll have to go to the link in the show notes to find out what part as you play the home game. Number 7, stop expecting perfection. Being happy is not synonymous with perfection. Darryl, read that again. Being happy is not synonymous with perfection. Perfection indicates the end of growth. Nothing else can be done and nothing else can ever be achieved. Yes, you achieved your goals. Great job, but now what? You've done so much to become a goal-oriented person in your pursuit of happiness. You hit those marks, and now that there's perfection, there's nothing left to do. A goal-oriented person with nothing to do is not a happy person. Stop expecting a perfect relationship. Darryl, this is for you more than anybody. Love is not perfect either. Relationships, even friendships, require maintenance, work, and balance. And yes, I realize that I'm talking to myself in the third person. I know you're screaming at your radio, Darryl, why do you always talk to yourself in the third person? But it's just something that I do occasionally. And I've even referred to myself in the first, second, and third person all in the same sentence because that's something that Darryl does. There is no such thing as the perfect partner, even though it often seems that way in the honeymoon phase. Accept the love that you have. Try not to occupy on a person's flaws and see them for who they are, what they stand for, and how they are trying to grow. A good partner or friend will do the same for you. Darryl, stop expecting a perfect body. How often are we forced to buy into ideas of how we're supposed to look, where we're supposed to buy clothes, what size we should be? These high standards are dangerous sources for stress. It's hard to ignore them, but not impossible. Determine your own option for yourself or of yourself. And I totally screwed that sentence up. My temporary dyslexia kicked in. Determine your own opinion of yourself and continue to work towards whatever goals and standards you've set for you. Everyone is different. Yes, everyone is different. Number 10 on the list of 12 things to get rid of if you want to be truly happy. Not accepting the word no. One word that has 2 letters can carry such power. It can defeat you over and over again. But guess what? You're going to hear no more often than yes in your pursuit of happiness, and that's okay. Each no is a step towards the yes you've been looking for. Don't take all the no's personally. Darryl, don't take all of the no's personally. 2 more things on the list. Stay tuned. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
Why do they hate us? Is libertarianism compatible with Islam? Davi Barker answers these questions and more in Voluntary Islam and Other Essays. He advances the voluntarist cause with analysis of the confluence of values between Islam and libertarianism, as well as contemporary movements from the Tea Party to the Arab Spring. Voluntary Islam by Davi Barker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, also known as Darryl's Therapy Session, where you join me inside of my head, or actually I join you inside of yours, because that's really how this works, right? Think about it. Even though you're getting to know me, I'm actually inside your head right now, because mine is the voice that you're hearing. So I am living in your head right now. Don't drive yourself crazy thinking about that one too long. Going through this list, 12 things to get rid of if you want to be truly happy. Jealousy and envy. Yes, I know that's listed as one thing. It's technically 2, so this should be 13 things. But I digress. Jealousy and envy. Working too hard, fear of setting goals, procrastination, thinking about yesterday, thinking about tomorrow, expecting perfection, expecting a perfect relationship, expecting a perfect body, not accepting the word no, making excuses. You need to get rid of making excuses. Stop making excuses. Stop coming up with lies, blame, and other stories to take the weight off of your shoulders. It is not healthy. It leads to delusion. Soon you'll start to believe all of the excuses you make. Ultimately, you'll fail to see your own flaws clearly, which stunts your personal growth. And finally, stop having expectations. Now, this isn't to say, don't expect the sun to come up in the morning. Let me delve in here. They say, what are your expectations? Who set them for you? Did you, or were these standards set by someone else, like your partner, or a series of articles you read in a publication, or even something you heard some weird, crazy guy say on the radio? If they aren't your expectations, get rid of them. You won't be happy if you're trying to live up to someone else's life. Let their expectations be theirs, and you choose yours. Being truly happy can happen if you learn how to listen to yourself. Distractions, expectations, and double standards are often oversaturating the human mind. These things prevent us from finding peace within ourselves. Our own voices become smaller and more distant. Find your voice, forego these things, and you'll be taking huge leaps towards being happy. And remember, you'll be happy today. It might not be now. It might not even be now. But because tomorrow does not exist, it will wind up being today at some point. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Don't forget, every Wednesday I answer your questions. Send those over ama@fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.